It's 4:30 on WKYT this morning. There's been more violence in Lexington. A man is dead following a stabbing overnight. Police are still investigating. The details are coming up.
Two men accused of killing a UK student Friday are being arraigned today. The latest on the case, plus today's vigil for the victim coming up.
And today will be a long day for Fayette County students thanks to the winter weather of some weeks ago. We'll have that story and much more coming up on WKYT this morning.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning and welcome. Hope you had a nice weekend and you're ready to go in this brand new week, the last one of April, or heading into the last few days of April. We're not the last week yet,
No,
right?
I think we have another weekend after this one. Don't forget
you're right
that.
about that. It's right.
If you think it's gone, it's going to confront you next weekend. I'm Barbara Bailey in for Rebecca today.
And I'm Bill Bryant. We're delighted you're with us. And we have a lot of news to get to you this morning, obviously including a breaking story, another killing in Lexington overnight. But let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris as those showers keep rolling through.
Yeah, and we even have a few rumbles of thunder down toward the southern zones. That's where we're going to be looking for to see some of these stronger cells. Now, we are having some roll through Garrett County, Jessamine County, working its way into Lexington in the next 30 minutes. Stamping ground, you'll be seeing it very shortly into Scott County. But the main cell is right now just to the north of Monticello and sliding toward that Pulaski County area. And you'll be hearing some cracks of thunder out of this. Remember, no severe weather expected. Can't rule out an isolated cell, but none expected out of this, mainly just some strong cells sliding toward the east. Temperatures are in the 60s, a couple of 50s here and there at about 59 degrees in Somerset. Today's forecast, we'll finish off right around 68 degrees. A few rumbles here and there, and then we go throughout the next few days, and we still hold on to those rumbles too. I'll show you that coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, we'll see in a bit. And new this morning, a man is dead, and police are right now searching for suspects after a stabbing overnight in Lexington.
Police were called to a building on Trent Circle around 10 o'clock last night. When they got there, officers say they found a man stabbed to death. Police have found neither the murder weapon nor any suspects. The police and the Fayette County coroner are still investigating. And just a few hours later, police were called to another stabbing incident. Around 1:15 this morning, police got a report of a double stabbing outside the Green Lantern Bar on West 3rd Street. When they got there, they say they found two men, one bleeding from the neck, another bleeding from the abdomen. According to officers, the man bleeding from the neck suffered life-threatening injuries. They were both rushed to the hospital. That investigation is ongoing as well, and investigators are looking at surveillance video to try and get a better idea of what happened.
Later today, two men who police say they killed a UK student walking home early Friday morning will be arraigned. 18-year-old Justin Smith and 20-year-old Efren Diaz are charged with murder in connection with the shooting death of 22-year-old Jonathan Kruger. Smith is also charged with tampering with evidence and fleeing and evading. When asked if they were involved, both suspects said they're innocent. And with the case moving into the courtroom, the question now is whether the death penalty will be on the table.
One thing I don't do is talk about a pending case. This is a pending case, and as a result, I'm not going to say anything about it.
Diaz and Smith are set to be arraigned later today. Diaz is also set to be back in court for unrelated charges on Thursday. Two communities in two separate states have been mourning Kruger's death over the last weekend. His friends and fraternity brothers held a vigil Friday night to remember him, and Saturday friends and family in his hometown of Perrysburg, Ohio, held a vigil to say goodbye. Extended family, friends, and Kruger's parents were at that vigil in Ohio. Nathaniel Towns is one of those family friends.
Jonathan is the type of person that would give you the shirt off of his back. He didn't want anything given to him. He wanted to work for everything. He's the type that he doesn't have an enemy. He loved everybody, and it's just sad.
That it is. Kruger worked as a photographer for the UK newspaper, the Kentucky Colonel. The Colonel will hold a memorial service tonight at 8 o'clock at Memorial Hall. We have more information about that at our website, WKYT.com.
Kentucky State Police are investigating an officer-involved shooting in Jessamine County over the weekend. They say early Sunday morning, Wilmore police were called to a home on Hinkle Drive for a suicide threat. It was there they found the victim, 40-year-old Michael Foster, standing outside with a gun. Police say there was some kind of argument between them and Foster. Shots were fired, and Foster ended up being shot. He was taken to an area hospital where he was pronounced dead. Neighbors say it was a pretty scary incident.
It's hard to explain, but it does feel different. It's, to think of such a small town and to have somebody have to be shot by the police, for everyone's protection, right outside of my house, but in this town in general, which is a very, quiet, family-friendly town.
It's unknown if drugs or alcohol played a factor in that shooting. The Jessamine County coroner says the autopsy and toxicology test will happen today. He says Foster died from multiple gunshot wounds. Police here in Lexington are investigating a rash of shootings that happened over the weekend. Officers are looking for two men they say shot someone during a break-in on Bryan Avenue Saturday. There was also a shooting after a break-in on Roosevelt Drive late Friday night. Investigators are also looking for the person who shot someone in the hand near Winchester Road and someone who fired shots at a car near 6th Street and Mustang Crossing. They say in the 6th Street shooting, a man was almost shot inside his car.
I didn't see it at first, but when the officer got back in his car, that's when I noticed up under my license plate that my car had been hit. So just by the grace of God, I'm still here.
Police have not made any arrest in those shootings.
More than a dozen people are in jail this morning after a large meth bust in Laurel County this weekend. The Laurel County Sheriff's Office says 16 people were arrested Friday night in connection to an interstate meth investigation. The Sheriff's Office says they've been working with London police and the DEA for more than 2 years on the case. They say it has connections with meth manufacturers in Georgia. They say all 16 are charged with conspiracy to distribute meth, and some others will receive other charges. One of those 16 people arrested was someone you may have heard from before. Stephanie Green Smith was among those arrested on Saturday. If you recall, Smith was arrested last year in connection with the death of Donald Mills. Mills was shot and killed during a burglary last May in Knox County. Smith, as well as 4 other suspects, pleaded not guilty to that shooting back in August.
Friends say there was never a dull moment when he was around. They're remembering their classmate, 17-year-old William Walters. A train hit and killed Walters near the Tackett Road crossing in Lilly yesterday morning. WKYT Sam Smith is in Laurel County, showing us how Walters' friends are remembering him.
Black Batman shirts.
He'd always loved superheroes, and he always wore his Batman shirts, so that's why we're wearing these.
And pictures taped to the wall so he won't be forgotten.
It brings up a lot of memories of stuff, and a lot of people have known him a lot longer than I have, but it still brings up a lot of good memories.
The youth group here at the First Church of the Nazarene in Corbin lost one of their own, 17-year-old William Walters. Officials say he was hit by a train early Saturday morning. The deputy coroner calls it a freak accident.
You're forever in my heart.
The group is relying on one another to cope with the loss.
We have each other's backs.
I mean, we're a tight group. You can't find a youth group around here that's family, and he was family. We're not anything but family.
Walter's friends will always remember the good times.
Every single day, like no matter if we were here, if we were at school, even if it was the same day, like at school and then at church on Wednesday nights, he would always come up to me, like he would make it a point. He'd be like, "Hey Shay, I love you," and then he'd hug me. Like no matter what mood I'm in, it made me really happy.
In Corbin, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Deputies say the train operator tried to stop when he saw Walters on the tracks. His autopsy is set for later today. Today is the deadline to register to vote for next month's primary election. It's also the deadline to make changes to your voter registration record. The Commonwealth has a closed primary election, which means you must register as either a Democrat or a Republican to take part in primaries. The primary election is scheduled for May 19th. Well, today is also going to be a little longer for Fayette County students. The Fayette County School Board approved extending the day by 30 minutes, and that starts today. Those longer days will continue through May 29th, the last day of school. School leaders say they are extending those days to make up time missed because of snow and nasty winter weather. School leaders have also set high school graduation dates and times, and we have those for you on our website, WKYT.com.
I'm sure the first day or two that'll seem
Well,
long,
really,
won't it?
30 minutes doesn't sound like that long, but when you're used to it, they'll be watching the clocks, I'm sure.
Tacked on the end of your day, right?
Yes.
Hey, it's good to have you along. It's Monday morning on WKYT, and we are just getting started.
Well, are you flying with kids sometime soon? Moms Every Day has some tips to make the process easier when we return.
Now, meteorologist Micah Harris, we're looking at some showers and thunderstorms approaching the Lexington area, and not just Lexington, but 75 corridor too. What do we expect out of this? I'll show you that coming up.